Good evening and welcome to the May 6th meeting of the Richmond Common Council. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a prayer by Councilor Burkhardt. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, I thank you for this day. Thank you for gathering all of us together. I pray for wisdom that you give us and that you bless all of us and all of our guests and bless our city. Amen.
Amen.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Doug Goss.
Here.
Lucinda Wright.
Present.
Bill Engel.
Here.
Larry Parker.
Here.
Ann Taylor. Gary Turner.
Here.
Jane Bumbelow.
Here.
Justin Burkhardt.
Here.
And Jerry Purcell.
Here.
Ann
Ada
Taylor
present.
has an excused
Okay.
absence tonight. We're going to adjust our agenda to take on the proclamation for the Wayne County Special Olympics basketball team as our first order of business. So whoever's going to speak to that first, please come forward.
I'm Lonnie Snow. I'm the county coordinator for Wayne County Special Olympics.
Can you come up to
You
the
need to
mic, please?
come up and
Yelling back there. My name's Lonnie Snow. I'm the Wayne County coordinator for Special Olympics Indiana.
Great.
And with me tonight, I brought my athletes, volunteers, coaches, family members, and we just want to thank you guys for inviting us to the council. This is all new for us. I've been part of the city now for 15 years, but I live in Liberty, and I've not had the chance to come here and talk to you folks. But I do have one thing I'd like to do. I invite Rick Moore up, my basketball coach for the Dragons that won the state game this year. So if you would, Rick, come on up and introduce your team real quick. Thank the council for coming.
absolutely.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you for being here.
yeah.
All right.
You're Rick?
Well, it looks like we've got a few of our dragons here, and we'll just start right here. We have Remy, Joey, Devin, Tyler, and Marcus right here. And what this is we started our state tournament in March, and we advanced all the way to the state finals, and we won the state this year. So
That's
Wow,
wonderful.
That's great.
thank you.
Very good.
A total of 8 players. 3 of them couldn't be here tonight, but yeah, I just can't tell you how much super proud of you guys, and really thank everybody for having us. And I think that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank
Mr.
you
President.
so much.
But Rick, I want to thank you for being involved. I know you were very involved with the team, and I want to congratulate all of you. I think that's a wonderful honor for Richmond, and it's great to see you. Glad you're here.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thank you. Okay, on behalf of the mayor, he wrote a proclamation for you guys, and I'm going to read it for him. Proclamation, whereas the Special Olympics of Indiana was founded in 1969 with the mission to provide year-round sports, training, and athletic competition and a variety of Olympic-type sports for children and adults with different abilities, giving them continuing opportunities. And whereas these opportunities help those develop physical fitness, demonstrate courage, experience joy, and participate in the sharing of gifts, skills, and friendships with their families and other athletes and the community. And whereas there are currently over 4,000 registered athletes and unified partners in Indiana, and whereas on March 23rd, 2024, the Wayne County Dragons basketball team became the state champions in their division by ultimately defeating the Clinton County Thundercats 24-18. And whereas the team also had 2 competitors participate in the basketball skills competition at the tournament held at the Pacers Athletic Center. And whereas thus provides the opportunity to learn and practice a skill, compete, experience the wins and the losses, all giving purpose and instilling values in lives every day. Therefore, I, Ron Oler, Mayor of the City of Richmond, do recognize the Wayne County Dragons for all of their hard work and dedication, and encourage all citizens to congratulate the team on their recent and future achievements. There you go. Thank you so much. Yeah.
We'll pause our meeting for a moment for you all to go back home, maybe have your dinner or whatever you intend to do.
Go play ball.
Like to receive the proclamation.
Give it to Rick,
Give it to Rick.
Lonnie.
Coach Rick.
Okay, all right.
You got one.
I've got a phone, but it won't work.
Well, that's no good.
Okay. Okay, there you go. There you go.
We do, Council, we do have a challenge for you.
What's that?
There's going to be a fire pole in Richmond. We're going to hold in Estro Plaza, August 25th. And it'll be involving Special Olympics in the fire departments, police departments,
Oh,
local
nice.
communities. So if we'd like to get involved with that, let us know. We'd love it.
All right.
Say thank you for
That's
your
awesome.
invite.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
I just take a couple minutes to pass out our brochures for the group.
Sure.
Sure.
Just give them to the clerk.
Give them to the clerk. That would be wonderful.
I know her, though.
That's,
We do
we'll make
too.
sure she gives them to us.
Yes. Thank you. Hi, Jim.
Seen him.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
I didn't see that.
Thank you.
Everybody moved.
Sure.
Okay, moving on. You all received the April 15th minutes, our last meeting.
April 15th. Yeah.
Any questions, comments?
Motion to approve.
Mr. Parker?
He made a motion to approve.
If there are no additions or corrections, I move for approval as received.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve our April 15th minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have no yes, we do have a presentation tonight with respect to Resolution 224, resolution adopting the Wayne County Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan. I think we have someone here to speak to that tonight.
John Duke is supposed to be here.
Here comes.
Excuse me, good evening.
Good evening.
So, some of you have been involved in our.
State your name.
I'm sorry, my name is John Duke, Deputy Director of Emergency Management.
Thanks, John.
So, we have the multi-hazard mitigation plan, and we're required by FEMA to update that every 5 years. So, it is a very long, drawn-out process. We actually started the whole thing in August of 2021. It's very detailed, in-depth, no stone is left unturned. It is written to meet the current FEMA guidelines at the time, and those change periodically, but several of the council members were involved, and so you guys are not unaware of this, I don't think. So what I'm asking for is a resolution by your body to accept the plan And the reason I ask for that is because in light of recent events, as you all know, bad things happen. So I'm asking for a resolution to accept and adopt this plan, because if we don't do that and a disaster were to occur, FEMA dollars would not be available for all of the residents impacted in the city of Richmond.
Dear.
Well, that's a good motive for us to take action.
Yeah.
I was gonna,
Any questions from council?
Mr. President, I would just like to thank Mr. Duke for all the hard work on this. Thank you.
Thank you. It was not just me, Director Kane, our administrative assistant, a lot goes into it, our private contractor. It was a lengthy process.
I can tell by having read it.
Yeah. 124.
Riveting, wasn't it?
It was. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2024. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're covered.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thanks, John.
Well, the mayor's not here, so I guess he won't communicate with us tonight. We have minutes from two meetings of the Board of Public Works, April 11th and April 4th. Any comments or questions about those? Hearing none, we'll move on to miscellaneous business, which brings us to the presentation by Mr. Kramer.
Good evening, and thank you.
Good evening.
For the record, it is Barry with an A, Kramer with a C. I live on South 21st Street here in Richmond. I asked to address you this evening briefly. Many of you know that I'm a longtime advocate for improved bicycle facilities here in the city. And I just wanted to make sure you know of the invitation for a bicycle infrastructure workshop on May 23rd. That's Thursday, a couple weeks from now. All of you, hopefully, except Mr. Parker, received an email about 3 weeks ago. He has the hard copy that I hand-delivered to the clerk's office. I have hard copies for the rest of you. If it came in your email, like me, if you have only a black and white printer at home, you miss the lovely colors that are on this flyer. It is going to be held at the County Administration Building. We are trying to invite people from a variety of offices, city and county, as well as nonprofit, interested citizens like myself. The task force or working group that has convened this is convened by Elisa Werland, who is with Purdue Extension Service here in Richmond. She does this as part of her community development work. So I'm really grateful that she is doing this work. Many of you know that I was here in front of you several months ago, and it's been since that time that I learned of this group and have decided that that's a good way of helping to send out our message and engage people. So the event is going to feature two speakers from Indianapolis, Pete Fritz, who is with the Indiana Department of Health, and Brandon Bergoa, who is with Indiana Department of Transportation. They each will have about half an hour. There will be questions and answers, community discussion, some additional presentations. So I just want to make sure you all are aware of that. We do ask, so that we can get a proper amount of materials and refreshments available, that you RSVP by May 16th.
Okay.
Thank you.
And if you have any questions about that, I would entertain them.
Any questions from council? I think we're good. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you have enough copies of that?
Yes.
Okay.
Pass it around.
Mr. President,
Mr. Goss.
I'd like to make a motion that we amend the agenda and move ordinance 2022, 2024
hard to say.
to second reading instead of first.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to move 2022, 2024 to second reading. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I'm going to make each of you say that before you even vote.
You guys make fun of me when I make mistakes.
So we're ready for ordinances on first reading.
Mr. President,
Mr. Parker.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and read ordinance 20, 2024, 24, 25, 26, and 27, 2024 by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to read all our ordinances on first reading by title only tonight. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Ordinance number 20, 2024, an appropriation ordinance amending the 2024 budget.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Pat Smoker from the Richmond Sanitary District. The Sanitary District Administration Building is running out of capacity. The required records retention that comes with engineering and billing is significant. To date, some records have had to be stored in off-site in various buildings within sanitation, the facility building, and the Q Street garage. Even with all these storage sites, the district has a significant amount of documentation boxed in hallways and an admin assistant whose desk is in the open lobby. Approximately 4 years ago, the district began looking for a manner to handle capacity issues. The space required for known treatment plant projects and the geography of the area limit what extra additions can be made to the administration building. In research, we found that we could get more square footage per dollar by purchasing a building rather than trying to add on to the administration building with its limitations. Over the years, the district has had several requests from citizens to make the building location more accessible. As we looked at potentially purchasing a property to meet storage needs, we also factored in the potential to move billing to a more accessible location. The district located a property it feels will suit its needs at 25 North 7th Street. The appraisals done by the district averaged $347,500 for this property, which is below asking costs. During the inspection done by the district, some roof repairs were noted. A purchase agreement was done at the time to set the new purchase price to an average of the appraisals, as well as a $17,500 credit at closing to cover potential roof repairs. This purchase agreement was signed on March 11, 2024, and came with a 90-day window to be presented to appropriate boards and approve necessary finances. The district realizes that the building also needs a few modifications to make it ADA compliant and to set up a lobby for customers. The appropriation ordinance before you, in addition to Resolution 4-2024 passed by the Richmond Sanitary Board of Commissioners on 4/23, will be used to purchase and remodel the building. All of the $98,000 before you in the ordinance was encumbered in 2022 and 2023 budgets for space-related solutions and was unspent in those years. This does not have to be voted on tonight, but it was advertised to be on public hearing tonight.
Thank you. Well, I'm assigning it to Finance for review, and so we'll hear it on second reading at our next meeting.
We're going to have public hearing tonight?
No.
If it's advertised? Okay.
Sure you could do, if it's advertised, you have to.
To do a to do a hearing tonight?
Mm-hmm.
I misheard you.
Mr. President, I have not seen that public notice that apparently references an advertisement. If there's anyone that is here wishing to speak on that tonight, then I would suggest that the floor be opened. And then additional public hearing could be held after Finance Committee has, but I doubt there's anybody here to speak on it.
That's okay. So I will open the floor for public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak for this ordinance?
We need to move it to second.
Oh, sorry.
Do we need to move it to
May I have a
second
motion
first?
along those lines?
Motion to move ordinance 2024 to second reading.
Second.
Read by title only.
We have a motion, and a second, to move 2024 to second reading. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ordinance, I'm trying to write this all down. Ordinance number 20, 2024, an appropriation ordinance amending the 2024 budget.
David Carpenter, Richmond Avenue. I am in support of this ordinance as it shall help our citizens reach the sanitation department to take care of their affairs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak for this ordinance? Anyone wishing to speak against this ordinance? We will take this up at our next meeting to complete the process. In the meantime, Finance will review it for us.
Ordinance number 24, 2024. A special ordinance amending the zoning map for a certain parcel from medium-density, single-family residential district to agricultural district.
Evening, Council.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Purvis, Planning Director. Ordinance 24 is a zoning map amendment for a property addressed 4465 Union Pike. This property is just short of 70 acres. It's just inside of the boundaries of the city's 2-mile fringe. It's currently zoned medium-density, single-family residential, and the owner would like to rezone it to agricultural. This evening, I'm just requesting that it be referred to the Advisory Plan Commission for public hearing during their May 22nd meeting.
Any questions from council? Hearing none, I'll assign it to Plan Commission.
Ordinance number 25, 2024, an appropriation ordinance authorizing the submittal, acceptance, and appropriation of a grant from the Wayne County, Indiana.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
My name is Audrey Shake, and I am the Grant Administrator for the city. Ordinance 25, 2024 is an appropriation ordinance authorizing the submittal, acceptance, and appropriation of a grant from the Wayne County government. The Wayne County Blight Program is requesting $300,000 in funding from the Wayne County government for the demolition of blighted and abandoned residential structures. The properties to be demolished are residential, vacant, have been declared unsafe or condemned through public process, and are not individually listed on any historic register, local, state, or federal. The City of Richmond will submit the application on or before July 1st, 2024. There is no match required.
Thank you. Any questions from council?
Mr. President.
Nope.
So is this, are we teaming with Wayne County government, Audrey, to do this?
Well, we're requesting funding from Wayne County government.
Okay, okay, thank you.
You have any idea how many structures we'll be able to handle with that?
I believe there's 25 properties that they have set up to be demolished
Okay.
currently.
Any other questions? If not,
Mr. President,
Yes.
do you know what properties are, I know that's a long list, but do you know if Warfel Oil is included in that, or would you know?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the last part of your
Warfel,
question?
the old Warfel Oil building?
I'm not sure. I can get an answer for you, though,
Thank you.
from, code enforcement.
Well, this will go to finance for review before we act on it, so next time we.
Mr. President, is there a deadline on this?
Yes,
July 1st.
July
On
1st.
the agenda.
Oh, yeah,
As required.
July 1st.
Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you.
Ordinance number 26, 2024, an ordinance establishing a fire merit commission. I can't even talk.
There's two questions.
Good evening, council members.
Good evening, Jeff.
Jeff Kinder, Richmond Fire. Mr. Turner, Richmond Fire Department asks Common Council to approve the following ordinance of the City of Richmond Fire Department. Ordinance 26, 2024, an ordinance establishing a merit commission for purpose of members' hiring, promotions, discipline, which is intended to produce a transparent, effective, and productive department. That's what's on the paper. What the merit does is this sets the ground rules for moving our department into a merit-based system.
Period.
Yeah. So it's a big thing for the fire department from 100 years of being in a seniority-based system to heading to a merit-based system. So that's where I stand.
Okay, well, questions from council?
Yes.
Mr. President,
Mr. Parker?
it says the hiring and termination of members. Who terminates people now?
Board of Works.
Would that be taken away from them?
Yes.
Other questions?
Mr. President, has there ever been any other merit promotion within the Richmond Fire Department?
Not to my knowledge. This is the first time that By state law, the mayor's ordinance is supposed to go and take effect by January 1st, 2025 is when this was to take effect. This lays the groundwork because once it's established, the time clock starts. The Board of Works has 60 days to notify the union. They have 3 weeks to vote. It sets the procedures establish the merit. And by January 1st of 2025, the merit system will be in place. The merit commission will be in place by March 1st of 2025. There's some votes that have to happen on council and the union side. All this does is lay the groundwork.
Other questions?
Mr. President,
Mr. Parker?
who initiated this?
This actually came from the state. The state mandated this by 2025. If the union doesn't want it and the council doesn't want it, you had to vote. Both have to turn it down per the state guidelines of the state rule. If one party wants it, it goes into effect. And if both parties don't want it, then every year it's voted down. Once it's established, like there's a 5-year, after 5 years, you vote, you come back and see if it's working for state guidelines.
Has the mayor expressed any way on this?
No, not to me directly, but I think it's important to note that notwithstanding council's potential approval of this ordinance, if that were to occur at the next meeting, as the chief indicated, the Board of Works has to hold a meeting within 60 days at which the membership will be invited, and there will be a vote by secret ballot, and that must pass by majority vote for the membership. If it doesn't, this ordinance would be null and void and could not be re-implemented, or the process could not be re-implemented for a period of 1 year.
Any other questions?
Yes, I have one for AJ. AJ, I was under understanding that the law had changed where if either party adopted. Is that not true?
That is not my understanding. If the union membership were to be the impetus to bring this into effect, then the process would be different. Council could not hold a vote to say that, no, we don't think that that is an appropriate measure. So if the union were to want to do that, they could. The process before you tonight is initiating with council, and then it would go to the union following that.
Thank you.
And I can add that before I came to council tonight, I had the union do a roll call vote, a non-official vote, but give me guidance if this is something they would want to pursue. And that's why I'm here pursuing, because even they've okayed it on a roll call vote. Now, hidden vote, I don't know. That happens once this is in place.
Correct.
But I do have their support.
Okay. Any other questions? I'm going to assign this to the Public Safety Committee for a report at our next meeting, and we'll take it up on second reading that night and take action.
Thank you, council.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
Ordinance number 27, 2024, a special ordinance amending the zoning map for a certain parcel from institutional district to medium-density, single-family residential district.
Hello again. Ordinance 27 is another zoning map amendment request. This is for a property in the Holesapple subdivision. There's currently a church on the property, so it's zoned institutional. The owner is in the process of converting that church into a single-family house, so they would like to rezone it from institutional to medium-density, single-family residential. And once again, requesting that it be referred to the Plan Commission for May 22nd.
Any questions? Hearing none, we'll assign it to Plan Commission.
Thank you.
Ordinances on second reading.
Yes, ma'am.
Ordinance number 18, 2024, a general ordinance amending Chapter 154, Unified Development Ordinance.
Ordinance 18 is a request by the Department of Infrastructure and Development to amend Article 5 of the city's unified, or it's a request by IND to amend the Unified Development Ordinance, sorry. So as you may recall, this modifies a change that was made to the UDO last year. Last year's changes reduced the permitted size of an accessory structure on a residential lot under 1/2 of an acre to 25% of the footprint of the primary structure on that property. So if you have a house with a footprint of 1,200 square feet, you could have an accessory structure up to 300 square feet, 25%. We were thinking at the time when we made the changes, we were thinking more along the lines of pole barns and sheds, but what we've learned this year is that this significantly restricts the ability of a lot of people to build detached garages on their property. So this proposal seeks to make an exception in the code for detached garages and carports to allow them up to 75% of the primary structure's footprint, which would return this to the standards that were in place prior to last year's changes. Richmond's Advisory Plan Commission considered this request and held a public hearing during their meeting on Wednesday, March 27th. No one from the public spoke in favor or opposition to this ordinance. After working out some of the math related to average primary and accessory structure sizes, Plan Commission voted 6-0 to recommend approval of the ordinance. However, they have proposed an amendment that the maximum size be 60% of the footprint of the primary structure rather than 75%. Planning staff has no issue with Plan Commission's proposed amendment, and if there are any questions, I'd be happy to try to address them.
Questions?
I do, please. Why would it be 60% instead of 75%?
There was a little bit of back and forth during the Plan Commission meeting. I think initially it was recommended that it be 50%, and then I think after they did the math, they felt that 60% would safely include all of the detached garages that we might get requests for, whereas 75% I think was believed to be maybe open the door for some structures that are a little bit larger than we were wanting to see.
Okay.
Mr. President.
Mr. Purcell.
Is that the footprint or is that total square footage?
Just the footprint.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? All right, we'll open this for public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak for this ordinance, please come forward. Anyone wishing to speak against this ordinance, please come forward.
David Carpenter, Richmond Avenue. I speak in opposition of this ordinance. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. What's the pleasure of council?
Move for engrossment.
Second.
Oh, sorry, there was a proposed amendment by the Plan Commission.
Oh,
From 75
You're right. We back up.
Motion to amend ordinance 18, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion to amend the ordinance to set the percentage of the size of the barn to 60% of the,
Yes, thank you.
of the home. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries.
Move for engrossment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to engross this ordinance. All those in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Call the question.
Called for the question.
Oh, yeah, call the question first.
Second.
There you go. Please call the roll. Quick.
Quick. Doug Goss.
Aye.
Lucinda Wright.
Aye.
Bill Engel.
Aye.
Larry Parker.
Aye.
Jane Bumbalough.
Aye.
Justin Burkhart.
Aye.
Jerry Purcell.
Aye.
And Gary Turner.
Aye.
8 are in favor. Ordinance number 22, 2024, an appropriation ordinance authorizing the submittal, acceptance, and appropriation of a grant from the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute.
Thank you, Mr. President, council members. Kyle Weatherly, Richmond Police Department. Richmond Police Department is requesting approval to receive a grant through the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute. It's a federally funded grant through the National Highway Traffic Administration. So what they do is provide us funding to go out and have high visibility enforcement to reduce traffic-related accidents and deaths. So there are 4 different programs that are actually included in this, and it's what we refer to as a blitz. So we have enforcement period for safe family travel, which focuses on seatbelts, aggressive driving, and impaired driving. We have distracted driving, which is a hands-free enforcement period. Then we have click it or ticket, which is very common verbiage that everybody, I'm sure, has heard. And then we have the impaired driving or drive sober, get pulled over. I'm sure everyone's heard that one as well. So all this is funded through the Criminal Justice Institute. This is an opportunity for them to provide us funding to focus solely on traffic safety. Obviously, we've had quite a bit of news on some of the accidents that have taken place here within the city. That will allow us to have overtime provided to us to where we can do that high visibility traffic enforcement. So the match on this is funding that we already provide. So the 10% match on that would be something that we would report back to them on fuel consumption. We're already providing that. So it's not where we would have to pay them that 10%. It is 10% that we are putting into the program itself.
Okay.
Reporting would be quarterly. We do that through what we call officer activity sheets. So we go out and we will either write a ticket or a warning or what we refer to as contacts. Not everything turns into a ticket. It could be an education at the time of the contact. So that is reported to them. And then they really want us focused on traffic safety. So I am available for any questions.
Any questions from council?
Mr. President.
Bill?
Kyle, so this is in the city, right?
Correct.
Are we enforcing the hands-free driving now?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Thank you. I see a lot of unhands-free driving each day.
Yeah, sadly, I do as well. And it's at times that I don't always have the opportunity to make a traffic stop.
Thank you.
Have we had this grant before?
We have.
So do we do it annually, or is it just period?
It is an annual grant. It runs from October 1st through September 30th. Okay. They go off of the fiscal calendar year.
I know finance has talked about this.
We have, and Chief Weatherly, again, my apologies for this missing the last finance agenda. But Finance Committee has reviewed this, and we recommend for approval of 2024.
Okay. Well, I'm going to open the floor for public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak for this ordinance, please come forward.
David Carpenter, Richmond Avenue. I am complete support of this ordinance. Anything we can do to help our fellow officers, I think that's an appropriate action that the city should take.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else speaking for this ordinance? Anyone wishing to speak against this ordinance?
Move for engrossment.
Second.
We have a motion to engross with a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Call the question.
Second.
Goss,
Aye.
Lucinda Wright,
Aye.
Bill Engel,
Aye.
Larry Parker,
Aye.
Jane Bumbleau,
Aye.
Justin Burkhart,
Aye.
Jerry Purcell,
Aye.
Gary Turner.
Aye.
8 are in favor.
That brings us to the end of our business tonight, and I'm not aware of any unfinished business.
Move for adjournment.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We have a resolution to sign tonight, so I'm going to pass it down. Well, we have RP&L tonight, so we don't get to run away.
That might keep them here.
Good evening, and welcome to the Richmond Power and Light meeting for Monday, May 6, 2024. Madam Clerk, would you please,
I'll do it.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Doug Goss.
Here.
Lucinda Wright.
Present.
Phil Engel.
Here.
Larry Parker.
Here.
Ann Taylor. Gary Turner.
Here.
Jane Bumbalow.
Here.
Justin Burkhart.
Here.
And Jerry Purcell.
Here.
8 are here.
Thank you. Next, we have approval of the minutes.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, sir.
if there are no additions or corrections, I move for approval of the minutes of April the 4th as received.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as received. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the bills to be approved.
Madam President,
Yes, sir.
Finance Committee has reviewed the bills and moved for approval in the amount of $7,236,475.20.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the bills of $7,236,475.20, and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, let's go down. Any unfinished business? Okay, report by the general manager.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Tony.
So tonight, we have a few bidding-related items that we'll go over. The first, the picture I have here is a picture of one of our linemen, Todd Boycourt. He helped out at the Safety Village Touch a Truck event that was held this past month. They took a pole out there and had a fuse there for kids to try. Usually when our linemen are doing that, that fuse is obviously much, much higher. They're usually doing that when the wind is blowing and it's 20 below zero, things like that. But that's a really good illustration for people interested in our trade as to some of the things that it takes to be a lineman. So appreciate Todd going out there that evening and participating. The first thing on our agenda is to award the bid on a new electric tow motor for the line department as previously approved in the 2024 capital budget. We did receive two bids, one from Miami Industrial Trucks. After trade, $31,975 is their quote. Another quote from MH Equipment. After a trade, $500 trade, their quote is $43,255.73. Our recommendation is to award the bid to MH Equipment in the amount of $43,755.73. We will not exercise the trade for the existing unit for $500. We feel that it still runs and drives, that we could probably send that through a gov.bid auction site or even scrap for more than $500. So we feel it's more prudent to keep a hold of that. The reason for not choosing the low bidder is as follows. The low bidder quoted us a 2018 model. It weighs the one that was quoted weighs 1,174 pounds below the minimum empty weight specified, and the lifting capacity of the unit by the other vendor that was quoted. So with the MH Equipment one, it exceeds it by 1,225 pounds. So basically, the lighter unit doesn't allow it to lift as much, and it's an older model, so it did not meet specs. So that's why we're requesting to go with the higher bidder, not the low bidder.
Okay.
I did run this by AJ just to let him know, and he always reminds me that we do need to make sure that these reasons that we did reject the low bidder is recorded in the minutes.
Madam Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Tony, what year is the one that we are going to get?
It's a new model.
Good.
Yes.
Good to hear.
Okay.
Any other questions?
If there are no questions, I would like to make a motion to award the bids to the MH Equipment Company in the amount of $43,000?
$43,755.
$43,755.
$255.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next one is one that we've talked a lot about before, and this one is, we're requesting to award the bid on a new Class 6 tree trimming bucket truck for the line department as previously approved in the 2024 capital budget, and we do have a 2009 unit for trade. There were 3 bids. Southeastern Equipment Company, their total bid was $199,244.44. Alltech Industries, their low bid was $153,744. And Terex, they submitted a bid for $241,755.37. So Alltech Industries is our low bidder. Would like to note that this is the bid sheet. When I'm opening bids, this is what I see. So when I opened bids that night, I did not see this little thing here that says, options noted on the last page. So obviously, this low bid, $153,744 after trade, does meet our specs. But they also said that they could quote us a 2024 Ford F-750 in lieu of the Freightliner chassis, and as a result, it would be a lower bid. The reason for that Ford chassis was one that another company apparently had ordered and decided not to take delivery on. Alltech works with us on a lot of our equipment, and they knew that actually we prefer a Ford chassis. That's what all of our diagnostic equipment is set up for. It's easier with having the same make of chassis to stock parts and things like that. So that's why they threw that in as an alternate. The chassis still meets spec that we had listed. The reason a Freightliner chassis was spec'd is because we knew those were readily available. So with all of that said, regardless of which chassis we choose, Alltech is the low bidder, but we would like to go with the Ford chassis, which saves us an additional $8,825 after trade for a total bid price of $144,919. I know that was a confusing one, but
Clear to me.
it saves us a few bucks.
So moved.
There we go.
Moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the Alltech, and is it the Alltech Industries? Yeah, for $144,919. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is a request to receive bids on one new 2024 or current model 3.6-ton mini excavator for the line department as previously approved in the budget. Potentially, we have a trade-in of a 2012 Bobcat with almost 4,500 hours on it. We're requesting to go out to bid on the Bobcat. I'll go ahead and talk about this as well. Under E, we are also requesting bids to receive a new trailer for that Bobcat. The reason we don't have those together is because, like some of our other equipment, the trailers are built due to the weight and balance of the equipment. In this case, that's not necessary, so it doesn't have to be the same vendor that provides the trailer, so we might be able to get a better bid on the trailer if we bid that separately.
Okay. So do we have a motion to request to receive bids on the new 2024 mini excavator?
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, is, do we have a motion to request to receive bids on the new or current model of heavy-duty trailer for the line department as previously approved in the budget?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, and if it's okay, I'll cover a couple of things just to give you an update on some EPA rules that were recently announced. These came out on April 25th, so just a couple of weeks ago. So I'm not doing an editorial, but these are just a couple of the headlines I pulled. But these new EPA rules are geared towards coal-fired power plants and the emissions. So I thought I'd just give a very brief explanation of what these four are, how they affect us locally. And I would like to add that how they would affect us locally is through the Whitewater Valley Generating Plant, which is operated for our community by IMPA. They have done a cursory review of these rules and are still continuing to study those. So this is a high-level overview. And I just wanted to kind of stress that like, for example, this first rule, the Effluent Limitation Guidelines Rule is 412 pages long. This rule specifically mentions the Whitewater Valley Generating Station, and it does exempt it through a low utilization provision. This is a change from the preliminary rule where the low utilization provision was omitted. So what happened in between the preliminary rule and this final rule, IMPA actually reached out to the EPA and said this would negatively affect that, the Whitewater Valley plant. It's not a base load generator anymore. It is a peaking operation, and they did listen to IMPA and then and included that language back in. So that was a success. So this does potentially extend the life of the Whitewater Valley Station as a result. Another rule that was issued was it's called the Mercury and Air Toxics Standard Rule. They call it the MATS rule. So I talked to Jack Alvey, the CEO of IMPA, about this rule and how it would impact Whitewater Valley. And they said they are continuing to study this issue, but their preliminary review of the rule is that upgrades required might be doable as long as the rates in the PJM market remain steady. So I'm going to do a little pitch here. If you're not going to Electricity 101 this Thursday at IMPA, you will learn all about the PJM and MISO and how the rates affect us. But that's part of the way that Whitewater Valley operates is the capacity agreements, that auctions for excess energy that occur on an annual basis. So that one looks positive as well for us. The next one is the greenhouse gas rule. At this point, it looks like Whitewater Valley continues to fall within the low utilization category and is not significantly impacted. And the final rule that was issued on April 25th was the Legacy Coal Combustion Residual Rule. I've had our CCR consultants take a look at this. Obviously, they're looking at this for some of their other clients as well. At this point, there will not be any changes beyond what we're already doing. There might be an additional report or two regarding the maintenance of our facility, but that will not be a problem. So anyway, if you've heard anything about these in the news, this is how they affect us on a local level. Now, I'll jump back to the ELG rule, that very first one. This one does affect us at a larger level as well. And I know Jane and Justin heard about this from Jack Alvey last week, and we'll talk a little bit about our trip in a moment. But for example, the ELG rule was modified in 2020. And one of the coal-fired plants that IMPA operates as a partner with other generators is a plant in Trimble County, Kentucky. So when the 2020 ELG rule came out, it meant that plant had to undergo significant improvements on their water treatment. So what Jack explained is that they just completed $31 million worth of water treatment upgrades to that facility, and they just went online earlier this year. And then on April 25th, this new final rule came out and moved the goalposts and basically said everything you have done to this date does not comply. So this is not only for Trimble County. There are other plants across the United States experiencing the same thing. And Jack explained that most likely they're all going to be communicating and filing suit against the EPA because they followed the rule, and then the goalposts were moved at the 11th hour. So, again, not being editorial, making editorial comments about any of this, these are just facts that when these costs are incurred to keep our generating sources, especially IMPA generating sources, up to date, those costs are passed along to us. So it is important that we stay on top of these rules and let our legislators know how they affect us, which segues into Justin, Jane, and I were able to attend a legislative visit with IMPA and some other member communities. We had Columbia City, Anderson, Frankton, and Lebanon attend, and we were able to meet with Senator Young, Senator Braun, Congressman Pence, Congressman Yackham, if I'm saying that right. We weren't able to meet with Congressman Baird and Banks, but we did meet with their staff. So in each of those meetings, these new rules were discussed with the elected officials. And I was also able to discuss the impacts of the CCR rule regarding RP&L's ratepayers and the costs of that project and how it impacts us locally. I think it was a good visit. It's important that we keep these issues in front of them. And I would actually, if it's okay, Jane, let you and Justin make any comments about that trip.
Okay. Justin, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was an incredible few days, and I'd like to thank you, Tony, and RP&L and IMPA as well for giving us the opportunity to get in front of the folks that you just mentioned. The EPA rules that you also just mentioned could be detrimental to our ratepayers, and as you said, the moving goalpost. It was incredibly important to talk to these legislators and to really get their attention, to rally behind the fact that local power is incredibly important, and that we're here to fight for our constituents. And so it was nice to meet with these folks for the short amount of time that we were given, and it was just an incredible experience to represent RP&L and IMPA and the constituents, the ratepayers.
Yeah. Thank you. Very good. There's so much already spoken. I, too, really appreciate RP&L and IMPA for this opportunity to go on this trip. The thing that in addition to everything shared, that sticks out the most with me is so many times we don't see what goes on behind the scenes, and we don't see the rallying, the meetings, what's brought to the table with our legislators. And RP&L and IMPA both, it was very impressive the way they spoke to our legislators, the way they brought the problems and concerns to them. And I really feel like that they were genuinely heard. So I really appreciate everybody who stands up for what's right behind the scenes and does what they can to protect our constituents and our city. And I just am so thankful for this trip. It was very good. This trip, we got in so many meetings, more so than the previous trips, and I was very thankful for this opportunity, and thank you very much.
Thank you all, and I'm glad we were able to do that as well. And I would entertain any additional questions that you have for me this evening. That's all I had to present. So.
Anybody have any questions, comments?
Move for adjournment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion adjourned, or meeting adjourned. Motion adjourned.